Many people don't know this, but I've actually graduated from USC 3 times.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the brainiest stars of all time. We won't be counting celebs who are mostly famous for being smart. Sorry, Dr. Tyson.
What happens when the wave hits the house? It becomes a smaller period of particles.
Number 30, Cindy Crawford.
If you weren't a model, what would you have done with your life?
Teach.
After graduating high school as the class valedictorian, she was offered an academic scholarship to the prestigious Northwestern University. Crawford had planned to study chemical engineering. Instead, she dropped out after one semester to become a full-time model. By the late 1980s, she was a household name, and she went on to become one of the most famous models in history. She's appeared on more than 1,000 magazine covers, not to mention TV commercials, movies, talk shows, music videos, you name it. Although Crawford probably would have made a pretty good chemical engineer, we think she made the right career move.
Make love to that camera.
You must have some good looks, too.
Here, we'll both do it.
Okay.
Number 29, David Duchovny.
Oh, isn't it nice to be suddenly so highly regarded? So who did you take off to get stuck with this detail, Scully?
Actually, I'm looking forward to working with you. I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, really?
Before he became Fox Mulder on The X-Files, he attended not one, but 2 Ivy League universities. After earning a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature and graduating summa cum laude from Princeton, Duchovny went on to get his master's degree from Yale. Just a few years later, he started landing acting roles, and before long, his career was off and running. However, starring in multiple hit movies and TV shows wasn't enough for the multi-talented Duchovny. In more recent years, he's also become a published novelist and a singer-songwriter, releasing 3 studio albums. This makes Duchovny a true modern Renaissance man.
Have you seen what it's like at the razor's edge?
Number 28, Lisa Kudrow. Her best-known character might be a little ditzy, but in real life, this star is quite the brainiac.
In this box are all the things I got from mugging that I thought were too special to sell or smoke.
If acting hadn't worked out, Kudrow might have followed in her father's footsteps and become a doctor. After earning her bachelor's degree in biology from Vassar, she worked alongside her dad as a medical researcher for 8 years. She even co-authored a scientific paper with him about the prevalence of cluster headaches in left-handed people. That paper came out in 1994, the same year she landed her breakout role as Phoebe Buffay on Friends.
Phoebe, you want to help?
Oh, I wish I could, but I don't want to.
Number 27, Kate Beckinsale. Beauty and brains, some people get all the luck. With an IQ of over 150, it's no wonder Beckinsale is so good at learning foreign languages. At Oxford, she was a student of modern languages, including Russian and French literature.
Where did you learn Russian, by the way?
I did it at middle school, high school, Oxford University. Did it for ages.
Oxford University. I forgot.
She spent a year studying abroad in Paris, and even speaks a bit of German too. Like many stars, Beckinsale quit school to focus on acting, something she'd wanted to pursue all her life. Now that she's had a long and successful career on the big screen, she's expressed interest in going back to Oxford to finish her education.
I remember somebody saying to me once, you'd be so much happier if you were 30% more stupid. So I think I might come back as a hamster.
Number 26, Weird Al Yankovic. Maybe you don't have to be a genius to come up with so many brilliant song parodies, but it probably doesn't hurt. Yankovic was a star student from a young age, starting kindergarten a year early and skipping 2nd grade. That meant he was just 16 years old when he graduated high school as valedictorian. He went on to earn a degree from California Polytechnic in the notoriously challenging field of architecture.
He's really actually not all that weird. In fact, he's fairly boring, aren't you, Al?
Oh, hey, do you guys like sangria?
Oh, he makes the best sangria.
Oh, it's all about the fruit.
While in college, he worked as a DJ and began recording parodies of current hit songs. His popularity began to skyrocket, and by the 1980s, he was working as a musician full-time. We wonder if he displays that architecture degree alongside his many Grammys.
I churned butter once or twice, living in an Amish paradise.
Number 25, Rashida Jones.
I'm not gonna talk for long because I have to pee again. Because I have to pee every 6 minutes because I have a beach ball in my stomach that's punching on my bladder.
With notable roles in Parks and Recreation, The Office, and The Social Network, to name a few, Jones has more than her fair share of enviable accomplishments. She also has a considerable head on her shoulders as well.
So the moral of the story is, if you make out with someone in Leverett Library, you're guaranteed at least a network sitcom.
A Harvard alum, Jones successfully graduated with a Bachelor's of Arts in Comparative Religion in 1997. She actually had plans to become a lawyer, but the O.J. Simpson trial allegedly jaded her aspirations. Instead, 1997 saw her take her first step into the limelight with a role in the Mario Puzo miniseries The Last Dawn before catching her major break on Boston Public. And things have only been on the up and up ever since.
Get out of this office. Get out of my life.
Number 24, Emma Watson.
With another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.
You may know her best as the incredibly intelligent witch Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter series, and Watson had plenty of inspiration to draw upon for her role. In 2011, she became a student alongside her acting career, working towards a degree in English literature from Brown University, while also studying for a time at Oxford. Watson is clearly quite well spoken, and her UN Women campaigns more than prove it. The only downside to all this, trying to avoid imaginary points for Gryffindor from unruly classmates whenever she answers a question. Number 23, Matt Damon.
That's gonna last until next year. You're gonna be in here regurgitating Gordon Wood, talking about, the pre-revolutionary utopia and the capital forming effects of military mobilization.
Does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? A young Matt Damon may suggest the latter, as his breakout work in Good Will Hunting told the story of an incredibly talented young man forced to face his past and live up to his potential at MIT. Damon actually began working on the award-winning screenplay during a playwriting class he was taking at, you guessed it, Harvard University.
One scene survived, actually, from what I handed in, with what eventually became Good Will Hunting.
This, of course, skyrocketed him to fame, and his light has hardly dimmed since then, but cut short his studies, technically making Damon just short of being a college grad. Take a look past the charisma and good looks, and you'll find a well-spoken, very bright man as well.
I hope you'll turn toward the problem of your choosing. I hope you'll drop everything. And I hope you'll solve it.
Number 22, Masi Oka. This actor originally planned to work in Hollywood behind the scenes. After graduating from Brown University with degrees in computer science and math, he went to work for Industrial Light and Magic. But it turns out he's just as talented in front of the camera. In his breakout role on Heroes, the multilingual Oka translated his own Japanese dialogue from English.
This is such a niche role, and if not this, what else am I going to get? So I'm so glad. So to drive the point home, I made sure I got the script, and I wanted to audition everything in Japanese.
He's also fluent in Spanish, a brilliant chess player, and has a black belt in the Japanese art of kendo. And he's still working in the tech industry, designing his own video games. Is there anything Masi Oka can't do?
I'm starting an indie game company myself, so talking about that, and just seeing what else is out there. I'm a gamer at heart, so it's just great to see what's new.
Number 21, Danica McKellar.
Winnie Cooper?
Since playing Winnie Cooper on The Wonder Years, Danica McKellar has popped up here and there on a few shows and TV movies.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dad.
Congratulations on those SATs. The whole faculty's talking.
Thanks.
One of her most notable guest spots was on The Big Bang Theory. In real life, McKellar could teach Sheldon Cooper a thing or two.
You know India?
I saw Slumdog Millionaire.
Well, I'm a slumdog astrophysicist.
Outside of acting, McKellar is best known for her knowledge of mathematics.
You finished Wonder Years, you went to college.
Yes.
And you became a genius?
She's written several books on the subject, including Hot X, Algebra Exposed, Kiss My Math, and Math Doesn't Suck. It takes a brilliant mind to make math sound interesting, and that's precisely what McKellar has done.
I love math because it's challenging. It challenges my brain. It makes you think. It makes you a better problem solver in life.
She's helped to show a lot of blossoming minds, particularly young girls, that math isn't for squares. Unless we're talking about geometry. See, that's math humor.
Oh, sure. I understand.
Number 20, Angela Bassett. Black Panther brought together one of the most gifted ensembles in the superhero genre.
Queen Mother, Princess,
my comfort for your loss.
Thank you, Nakia. It is so good to have you back with us.
Howard graduate Chadwick Boseman became well-versed in Shakespeare while taking Oxford's summer program. Shortly before winning her Oscar, Lupita Nyong'o graduated from Yale with a master's in acting. She wasn't the only Yale alumnus on set.
How are you feeling today, Mama? Proud. Your father and I will talk about this day all the time.
In 2020, Angela Basset became the first Black recipient of the Yale Undergraduate Lifetime Achievement Award.
When we combine a willingness to learn with the pursuit of knowledge, magic happens.
The Oscar-nominated actress had already earned a BA in African American Studies, a Master of Fine Arts degree, and an honorary doctorate from the university.
There were no sororities on my campus. You know, at Yale, there were secret societies, and I was too busy doing my theater thing.
On top of all that, Basset met Courtney B. Vance, who she later married, at Yale.
So when you're told you're not good enough, you tell them, not only am I good enough, I'm more than enough.
Number 19, Natalie Portman. A globally admired film star, Natalie Portman is just as academically revered as well. Yes, she's got an Oscar, a BAFTA, and 2 Golden Globes.
Driven by these insecurities, I decided that I was going to find something to do at Harvard that was serious and meaningful, that would change the world and make it a better place.
But she's also a psychology graduate out of Harvard, and she's fluent in Hebrew. At Harvard, she contributed to a paper entitled Frontal Lobe Activation During Object Permanence, Data from Near-Infrared Spectroscopy, which is hard to say, let alone write.
I come up here sometimes when I can't sleep, or when I'm trying to reconcile particle data, or when Darcy's driving me crazy.
Portman once famously said she'd, quote, rather be smart than a movie star. As it turns out, she's doing a seriously good job at being both. Number 18, Conan O'Brien.
There's a time when you snuck into the room to see what the...
I sneaked into the room. Snuck isn't a word, Conan, and you went to Harvard and you should know that.
Primarily known as America's longest working late-night talk show host, before being a celeb interview supremo, Conan O'Brien was also busy racking up intelligence at Harvard University.
I spent a very intense period of my senior year writing a thesis called Literary Progeria in the Works of Flannery O'Connor and William Faulkner.
An esteemed literature and history graduate, O'Brien was president of the Harvard Lampoon Comedy magazine while he studied. His career as a writer was set out from an even earlier age, though.
And anyway, this is me. They found this photo, and that is actually me drumming. Get in there close.
He graduated high school as valedictorian in 1981, having won national awards for a short story of his titled To Bury the Living.
Snuck, past and past part of sneak.
Number 17, Jodie Foster.
Why do you want me to go back to my parents? I mean, they hate me. Why do you think I split in the first place?
A film star with a thing for foreign languages, Jodie Foster actually attended a French language prep school during childhood.
Quand je parle français pendant pas mal de temps, ça me séduit, c'est la langue qui me séduit surtout.
Consistently described as a gifted child, she could read at the age of 3, and is at least competent at most major European languages. In 1985, Foster graduated magna cum laude out of Yale University, despite the fact that she was already a movie star by then.
The 18-year-old actress was taking a sabbatical from Hollywood to attend Yale University.
Too often, child stars suffer a well-documented fall from grace, but for Foster, there was less self-inflicted scandal and much more schooling.
You fly back to school now, little starling. Fly, fly, fly.
Number 16, Alicia Keys. You already knew she's a musical prodigy, but you might not have realized that Keys was an academic prodigy too.
And I sat down at the piano, and I don't know what happened, but it all just kind of like, boom. All the chords, all the things just came right there.
She graduated high school as her class valedictorian at just 16 and received a scholarship to study at Columbia University. However, she soon left for a different Columbia Records. Having already signed her first record deal at age 15, Keys decided to put her education on hold and focus on her music. When the label refused to let her have creative control, the teenage singer took the bold step of ending her contract. It was the right move, considering that she would go on to become a massive best-selling artist and win multiple Grammys.
Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all.
Number 15, John Legend. Being one of the few artists to achieve EGOT status, we have to ask, is there anything John Legend can't do? The short answer is no.
I wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face, man, I ain't going nowhere.
The long answer is that music is only the tip of Legend's resume. Skipping multiple grades, Legend attended high school by the age of 12 and graduated at 16. Although he could have gone to Georgetown or Morehouse on scholarships, as well as Harvard, Legend settled on the University of Pennsylvania. Upon graduating, Legend became a management consultant for the revered Boston Consulting Group.
I was a management consultant. Yeah, we were doing like what you would expect kids that graduate from Penn to do, and then I was like, I don't want to do this forever.
Although Legend learned a fair deal about business and probably could have built a successful corporate career, he kept reaching for the stars. On the side, he wrote, performed, and produced his own music, amounting to a legendary legacy.
And I wanted to be those people that got discovered when they were, 10, 12, 14 years old and became a big star. But in retrospect, I think it was better for me that it didn't happen then.
Number 14, John Cleese.
Oh, never mind.
Widely listed as one of the great comic geniuses of all time, John Cleese was also overflowing with more academic artistry.
It's dead, that's what's wrong with it.
No, it's resting, look.
Look, my lad, I know a dead parrot when I see one, and I'm looking at one right now.
A graduate from Downing College, Cambridge, he was instrumental in making the university's Footlights Club, a prime breeding ground for British comedy.
I mean, you're allowed to be an asshole, right? If they want a picture with you.
Fawning creatures coming up telling me how wonderful I am and how can I be as wonderful as you. Off.
In terms of his actual studies, Cleese left with a law degree, but possibly his most important achievement at Cambridge was his befriending Graham Chapman.
You stupid, bird-brained, flat-headed...
Beside a group of other highly educated blokes, the duo would go on to pen Monty Python, one of the most surreal success stories ever shown on TV. Number 13, Reggie Jackson. Mr. October isn't just a Hall of Fame clutch hitter.
A big World Series for Reggie Jackson, despite all the palaver about his discontent with Billy Martin.
He's also a literal genius. With an IQ of 160, Jackson has to be one of the smartest pro athletes in history. Despite facing significant racism early in his career, he went on to become a superstar, winning 3 World Series titles with the Athletics and 2 more with the Yankees. His fame isn't limited to the baseball diamond. Jackson has also cameoed in numerous movies and TV shows, and was even on the shortlist of actors considered to play Chief Engineer Geordi LaForge on Star Trek The Next Generation.
The Mr. October Foundation, Michael, is for me to try to do more for my community and with underserved kids. We have STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and math, and we really got our first group of kids in the Bronx. We're still there.
Number 12, Rowan Atkinson. An actor who is rumored to have listed his profession as engineer on his passport, Rowan Atkinson can do that because he has a master's degree in electrical engineering from Oxford, which is something that's almost impossible to believe considering his intentionally acclaimed forays into goofball comedy. Most notably as silent slapstick Mr. Bean and chaotic Secret Serviceman Johnny English.
Johnny English, I'm here to see Pegasus. Still, no sense rushing things.
A frequent political commentator and activist, as well as an automobile enthusiast.
On to the rev limiter, good.
It turns out that beneath that famous turkey, there's a marvelous mind. Number 11, Dexter Holland. We know that being highly educated isn't the same as being smart, but we're also willing to bet that anyone who gets a PhD in molecular biology basically for fun must be pretty brainy.
I never told my professors that I was in a punk rock band. Right? I mean, obviously, I didn't want to distract them from my commitment or make them think that I wasn't dedicated to the research.
Like many of the scholars on our list, Holland put his education on hold when his band The Offspring started to rise to fame. After decades of musical success, Holland returned to the University of Southern California and finished his doctoral degree in 2017. But that doesn't mean he stopped performing. On the contrary, The Offspring are still touring 40 years after they first got together.
This is your biggest ever Aussie tour, and it's all sold out. So how does that feel? That must be pretty amazing, right? Or after all this time, you're just like, you're expecting everything to sell out.
No, it's amazing. I mean, we love coming to Australia, so it's always great in that way.
Number 10, Hedy Lamarr.
It turns out Hedy Lamarr was also a brilliant inventor. A new documentary film about her life opened widely in theaters across the nation this week and will air May 18th on American Masters on PBS.
Even as a child, she wanted to understand how things worked. This led her to become a brilliant inventor, whose scientific achievements mostly went unacknowledged during her lifetime. Despite having little formal education, she worked with Howard Hughes to invent a new airplane design, created a fizzing tablet that can turn a glass of water into cola, and much more. Her most famous invention by far is the frequency hopping technology that makes Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth possible. It's not a stretch to say that without Hedy Lamarr, the modern world might look very different.
Faster, Sam! Faster!
Hold tight to the railing.
I'll hold tight to you!
Number 9, Shakira. Hailed as the queen of Latin music, this Colombian singer achieved international fame with hit songs like Whenever, Wherever, and Underneath Your Clothes. While we all know that Shakira is a lyrical genius, she's an all-around genius as well. A member of Mensa International, Shakira possesses an IQ of 140. To give you an idea, the average IQ is somewhere around 100. This shouldn't come as a surprise, as Shakira is fluent in multiple languages, including Spanish, English, Portuguese, Italian, and Arabic.
Eu adorei você. Eu acho que você é cantor realmente bom.
Muito obrigado. Can you speak Portuguese a lot? That would be cool.
Not every 7-year-old would want a typewriter for Christmas. Young Shakira, however, was intrigued watching her father use his typewriter, which was gifted to her. She used it to write poems, which led to songwriting, which led to fame.
But I never would have imagined when I started out that my work as an artist would end up being the vehicle for me to serve my greater purpose in life of working towards eradicating poverty.
Number 8, Nolan Gould. On Modern Family, Alex was the resident academic while Manny was the precocious one. Luke, meanwhile, could be a bit on the slower side.
Buddy, why do you keep getting stuck like this?
I thought I could get out this time.
Behind the scenes, though, actor Nolan Gould was the child prodigy. We guess now he's an adult prodigy. With an IQ of 150, Gould was welcomed into Mensa.
Discuss about nuclear fusion in our microwaves and, string theory and Schrodinger's cat and all these different scientific things.
Skipping 4 grades, he graduated from high school by the time he was 13. He spent the following few years primarily focusing on his acting commitments, but he did get a head start with some early college courses.
Acting isn't a sure thing. We're not set to have jobs for the rest of our lives, and, fame is really fickle. It can change really quickly.
Then in 2017, at age 18, he was accepted into the University of Southern California. Whatever the future holds for Gould, we're sure he'll excel at any path he takes.
You know better than to mess with someone so uptight. What do we always say?
Don't break Alex, she's our safety net.
Number 7, Ken Jeong.
Your spectacular breasts mean nothing to me.
It's not appropriate at all. Just saying. He could totally lose his license.
There's probably a good chance your first introduction to this actor was his side-splitting performance in The Hangover. Is it a surprise to hear he would also be more than prepared to save your life on a minute's notice? Ken Jeong studied pre-med at Duke University and got his MD at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
7 years, I work full-time.
Not too many actors can transition from a 6-figure job at a hospital if the roles dry up. During his early days, Jeong would actually split his time between treating patients and taking comedy gigs before his big break as a doctor in Knocked Up.
Do you smoke cigarettes? No. Do you smoke cigarettes?
I have on occasion.
On occasion when? When was the last time you had one cig?
Number 6, Gina Davis.
Handbook for the recently diseased.
Deceased.
They say if you say Beetlejuice 3 times in a row, a Mensa member who's fluent in Swedish with an IQ of 140 will appear.
Your Excellencies and honored guests. Ers Majestät, det är ett privilegium att vara här ikväll.
While Davis may be most associated with Thelma and Louise and Beetlejuice, she's put her impressive intelligence to good use as well. Notably, Gina received an honorary doctorate from Bates College in 2009 for research on gender studies in the media. Hey, it's not easy to be an Olympic-caliber athlete, Academy Award-winning actress, and noted genius, but this triple threat has been accomplished. Number 5, Sharon Stone.
Did you kill Mr. Boz, Miss Trammell?
I'd have to be pretty stupid to write a book about killing and then kill somebody the way I described it in my book.
Stone is an Academy Award-nominated actress and often remembered for her performance in Basic Instinct. But she's also undoubtedly the smartest person in most rooms she walks into. At age 15, while most of us were working on getting our learner's permit, Sharon was awarded a college scholarship to Edinburgh University, where she studied creative writing and fine arts.
I'm not stupid.
With a whopping IQ of 154, Stone is comfortably in the top portion of the 99th percentile, qualifying but never actually joining Mensa.
It wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't be hard at all.
Number 4, Quentin Tarantino.
I don't need you to tell me how good my coffee is, okay? I'm the one who buys it. I know how good it is.
Don't get any ideas, but Tarantino dropped out of high school and landed a job at an adult theater. This behavior may not be most typical of a genius, but he's indisputably just that. Yes, a slew of films that are considered masterpieces may indicate his prowess, but the Pulp Fiction director had set himself apart from the rest of the world long before with a nearly unheard of IQ of 160. For reference, this puts him squarely in the 99.996th percentile, right next to legendary theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking. Truly a poster child of structured education shortcomings, Tarantino was destined to shake things up from the very beginning.
But at the same time, though, yeah, there's a lot more to competition, but also those crappy movies aren't competition if the thing is like dynamite.
Number 3, Dolph Lundgren. The on-screen epitome of an action hero, there are considerable brains to back up Dolph Lundgren's brawn.
As you can see, Drago averages 1,850 pounds. So the result's quite obvious.
And what results are those?
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Best known for playing Russian boxer Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, Lundgren may look tough on screen, but he's actually a master of chemical engineering, graduating from the University of Sydney in 1982.
Normally very shy and humble about his Mensa stuff and his IQ, which is up north of 160, by the way.
Before that, the Swedish actor had already accumulated a chemistry degree from Washington State, and a degree in chemical engineering from Stockholm's Royal Institute of Technology. Dolph Lundgren's intelligence is an international affair.
Well, I had a scholarship to MIT in Boston and wanted to finish there and get a PhD and maybe go to Harvard or something, but then I met Grace Jones, you know.
Number 2, Mayim Bialik.
Now, before this goes any further, you should know that all forms of physical contact up to and including coitus are off the table.
She played a neurobiologist on TV, and she has a PhD in neuroscience in real life.
When I auditioned for the part, on my resume under miscellaneous, it says PhD neuroscience, because I didn't know where else to put it on an acting resume, so I put it under miscellaneous.
Mayim Bialik is a role versus reality match unlike anything else in the industry.
When I get back, I'm gonna make you some chicken soup. How does that sound?
Jewish.
After gaining fame as a child star on Blossom, Bialik was brought back into the public eye when she starred as super smart Amy Farrah Fowler on the geek comedy TV series The Big Bang Theory.
My most recent paper on how cooperative long-term potentiation can map memory sequences and dendritic branches made the cover of Neuron.
Just a few years before her debut on the show, Bialik finished her studies, gaining particular note as a specialist on obsessive-compulsive disorder in adolescence. It's no wonder her on-screen brains are so believable. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Brian May. Having earned fame and fortune as lead guitarist in Queen, Brian May attained an astrophysics PhD from Imperial College London in 2007, after cutting short his original studies in the mid-70s.
And I discovered about the formation of the Earth and trilobites and the emergence of life, and I was hooked forever. And I used to beg to be able to be allowed to stay up and watch the sky at night.
Since then, he's co-authored twice with Sir Patrick Moore and Chris Lintott on Bang, The Complete History of the Universe, and The Cosmic Tourist. In 2015, he was also introduced as a science team collaborator at NASA.
It's NASA, ladies and gentlemen, taking us out into the very edges of the solar system, to Pluto and beyond.
He's a specialist in zodiacal dust, although that's not what Freddie Mercury was famously referring to.
And another one gone, and another one gone, another one bites the dust.
Which brainy celeb do you think is the most impressive? Let us know in the comments.
Hang on a second. You're a first-year grad student. You just got finished reading some Moxian historian, Pete Garrison probably. You're going to be convinced of that till next month when you get to James Lemon. Then you're going to be talking about how the economies of Virginia and Pennsylvania were entrepreneurial and capitalist way back in 1740.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.